So just to show the code again, I mean, this is how we created the artifact. And the next thing we want to do is we want to link the model and link the model to create a. So we're going to click on this link to model registry, and then we're going to select a registered model. So this is a bit of terminology I want to kind of clarify a little bit. Noah, do you want to explain what is exactly the difference between model registry and registered model, and what is a registered model in this case?
Yeah, so you can think of the model registry as kind of the entire repository of all of your models. It's like the big bucket where all of your pinned or bookmarked model checkpoints will go. And registered model is, within a model registry, you might have a bunch of different registered models. Registered models typically represent a specific task, a machine learning task that your team is working on, where people from different projects are publishing their best checkpoints for that project. So, for example, if you have a team that's working, we have one customer that we've been working with that uses the model registry. They have different models for like depth estimation for kind of underground like manufacturing. And so you can imagine that like one registered model there represents depth estimation. If you're working with ensemble models, then we might have each different task within that ensemble model will have its own registered model. So you can really think as a registered model as being synonymous to an ML task. And people from different projects across your team might be working on those tasks in their own projects, but they're linking to this team registry. So we have this collection of the very best model checkpoints across all projects for that ML task. It's essentially an extra layer of hierarchy to organize pinned or bookmarked or linked models in specific almost folders, a folder of versions that are all working towards the same ML task.
Great, that's really helpful. So just to like reiterate, registered model is a task. And so when you click this link here, this link to registry, it's going to give you a drop down of all of the different registered models or tasks that you might want to attach this artifact to. In this case, I have two of them. Now, let's create a new one. I have these from prior projects, but I want to create a new one, and you can do that here. And I'm going to call it, my ML task. For example, it's going to be of type model. I'm going to say this is a demo, for example, like that. I'm not going to talk about this tags box, so we can just skip over that. And I'm going to go ahead. So this is very convenient. I'm going to go ahead and link that model artifact that I just had to this task. So this task is my ML task. I can create more aliases on the fly. Let's say I get to this point and I think to myself, this best in dev alias that I added, I really would like another type of alias. Like, at this point, I would really like to add the staging alias. So this is like a one last chance in a way. You can still add the alias afterwards, but this is kind of like just a way that you can just sort of add another alias at this point if you want. And then you can say link to registry, which is really, creating that registered model. And then you can go into view and registry. So you're viewing the registered model in the registry. And you can see the different aliases, for example, and what you have here is this is the model. This is actually a pointer. So this is a registered model, and this points back to the artifact. And if you click view, you can get sort of all the information. We're going to go through the UI very carefully in the next section, but I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. So that's how you link a model, to a registry. And what I just showed is you can do that in code as well. So to do the same thing of linking to a registry in code is you can run this code right here in this cell. And so the first thing you want to do is get the artifact name. Now notice this colon best. Noah, do you want to talk about what this colon best means in this specific situation?
Yeah, so this is a really good example of an alias being used to reference an artifact. So when you're pulling down an artifact from the registry, or whether it's from directly from your project, then instead of referencing which version you want by using the version number like V27, then this would be a good place if you want to always be linking, for example, the latest version, or you always want to be linking, the model version that performed the best. Then you can add colon and the alias, and that again lets you use kind of a semantically friendly reference using terms that we typically encourage to be like standardized across your team. And one thing to note is that as Hamel mentioned, when we're linking artifacts, or we're linking model artifacts to the registry and we're attaching aliases there, it's a great place to be adding kind of these semantically friendly keywords that reference where the model is in its life cycle. So oftentimes I've worked with teams that when they're first adding, when they're linking a model to the registry, they might add the alias like needs QA or review or evaluation to mark it as, hey, this just entered the staging pipeline. Now, after going through a round of testing, the alias could change, to reflect that the format might have moved into being quantized. So we've seen some customers add an alias like quantized. So that might also represent, oh, it's in that stage of the pipeline and it's moving closer to production. Or if, in the process, it's decided that a model didn't pass the tests, an alias archived might be added. That's another option there. And that way teams know to kind of clean it out of their registered model or their task. So aliases are a great way to programmatically kind of reference the artifact that you're looking for, using a term that's kind of friendly rather than memorizing the version number.
Thanks, Noah. That's really helpful. And I want to mention with aliases, only one model in a specific model registry or in a registered model collection can have that alias. So let's say you can't have two latest models, and that's really useful so that you can, they're unique. Those aliases are unique, and it allows you to manage the life cycle. And also want to say that it might seem a little bit cumbersome that I'm adding aliases and doing all this stuff, but actually what we're going to show later on is how to build lots of automation on top of this and how to glue other systems, and you can actually automate a lot of this stuff. You can automate, because you have APIs and because of some other features we'll get into, we'll show you how you can like automate kind of moving models through different parts of the workflow with a human in the loop. So it's not at all complicated, and it's very nice and it's easy to use. And then I would also want to mention, this is a very kind of like simple, minimal example. We're going to have a later section in the course where we go through an end-to-end example with the real ML use case of doing this whole process, just to solidify this and give you more intuition of like how this works in a real ML project. So just to conclude, this is how you link a model. This is exactly what I did in the UI. Is I took that model and I linked it as a registered model, and this is the same name I gave it. And you remember, if you recall, I added that staging tag. And that's all you have to do to, link a model to the registry.